All right, welcome everybody. How are you today? So nice to have you here. Welcome to Fasting Space. We are flying through December 15. Start of the third week of our challenge. If you're working on that with me. Creating our opposing force. A lot of forces in December pulling us in a direction that we maybe don't want to go. Say we want to enjoy food, we want good relationship with food, but we don't want to gain weight in a month either. And so we're here in the fasting space. We're trying to balance all that out, walk this fine line, find the rhythm, like this beautiful hand pan that is helping us walk in the direction of our goal while enjoying the journey. Simple fasting going to help you on that path. Bring everything into balance so that we can flow through the space and get ready for the breakthrough that is coming. The significant success, the exciting experience that we're going to have in 2026. Most of the year, I'll tell you, I don't pay too much attention to New Year's. Okay, I say the new year is just another day. We're going to be having a day like any other day because we can make any day a day to turn the page and head in the right direction that we decide for ourselves. But hey, when we're heading toward the new year, we might as well take advantage of it, I say. And I am excited. I am for 2026. Are you excited for it? I hope so. I am excited to be walking forward in health, both personally and with everybody else. I'm gonna extra fire myself up for personal goals of my own, getting stronger, getting healthier, dialing in all of this we want to be doing. And so here we are, these fleeting days of 2025. I was thinking about that discussion we had the other day about how memories are formed. And you think about the memory of a year. Remember, we were saying from that book, Thinking Fast and Slow, that we tend to remember like the most intense part of an experience and then how it ended. And so when we think about the year, what are your memories of 2025 going to be? And if it's really the case that the memory is like going to be, the best or the worst, we tend to remember, and then how it ended. We're trying to shape our memories of 2025. Let's think real thoughtfully here at the end. How do we want 2025 to end? Then we have that thought as we're thinking about building up these good feelings, these good intentions. Just a little over 2 weeks out, 17 days, including today, means 17 steps left of 2025, 17 opportunities to dial in on our health experience. Those 17 days, these 17 experiences, that's going to be a big part of what frames 2025 in our mind. We want to leave the best framing possible. How are you feeling about the holidays? Are you planning for it? Do you have your plans together? Are you going to be cooking? Are you going to be like really in charge of that? Or are you going to be somewhere else and we've got to make a plan? How are we going to handle eating over the holidays? Did you have a good experience of Thanksgiving? What was that experience? Are there things you can learn from it? Say, hey, this is something that went well. This is something that could have been better. And then remember, we don't have to bring any pressure of any kind into a holiday. We use the health tools that we have to shape the whole experience around it. Maybe today, maybe this space. Help to center ourselves, realizing, and we can optimize this over multiple weeks. Here is a week now, the week out before a holiday week. Maybe we can really lean into our health practices. Maybe this is a space friends and family aren't around here. We just have some time with ourselves. Maybe we're getting our work done. We're doing all of the things we need to do to get ready. And then we can lean into the health space this week before things really ramp up with the holidays. Then we're setting ourselves up for so much success. Say, hey, man, that week 3 in December, I leaned into it. Queen of Heaven is here. Good morning. I hope you are so well today. That's giving us some space. That's taking the pressure off. The fasting space, especially as we're heading into a holiday, not on a holiday itself. So many benefits that it can bring to us when we think, okay, the holidays can be overwhelming. They can be stressful. There can be so much to do, so much things. Holiday gets turned into kind of a consumption space in general, not just with food, but buying stuff and things for everybody. Fasting space is a resting space in the body, recognizing, finding gratitude for the fact, hey, we have everything we need, actually. Body very strong, plenty of energy here. We can give space to the body to use that energy you already have. And that's a space, just because this helps us see all of the wellness practices are connected. I know my experience when I even say that, when I say, hey, just give yourself a space, the first thing I do, even as I'm saying it, I think, oh, take a big, deep breath. Big, deep breaths, physically creating space in the body. Open up the lungs, stretch out all those muscles. We tend to tense up, right? When we're stressed out, don't you tense up? This is what I do. The shoulders get clenched up. I say, oh, everything. When we think about opening up, a fasting space about opening up, look at this posture. It's like, get into a good alignment. Feels better already when I'm doing that. And then take a deep breath. Once things opened up, take a deep breath. Fasting is like that. Fasting is another thing like that. Helping to get our body into alignment, both physically, emotionally. Giving ourselves space. Hey, here's a space I've carved out for myself in the busyness of this season. Don't need to eat anything. Don't need to prepare anything. Any time I'm saving from doing any of that is just take a check-in with myself, Am I keeping stress and tension anywhere? Doesn't have to be very long. Look, we just 2 minutes here. We're kind of spending some time thinking about this. I'm feeling better with that. Can you get into a space like that in your day? This is how we use a wellness practice, a fasting practice, breathing. Open up space to process those thoughts. Set our intention. Dial in on our intention so that as we are moving through everything we have to do, all the stress, we say, hey, I know what my intention is. I know what my purpose is. I know what I'm moving toward. I'm feeling the excitement building for this path, walking that line, finding the balance between our healthy enjoyment with food, our healthy enjoyment of an absence of food that we realize is a gift to the body, helping us walk down that path, burn through the excess, help us stay into balance. Refining, fasting, I love the idea of refining. Like you're trying to purify a metal, right? You mind it, and then it's in the ore, and you put it in the furnaces. Purify out, take out all the impurities. We want that in our body. We want to refine the system, the metabolism. This is what we're trying to do. We try to do it, I say, really gently, especially through these last couple weeks. Try to have a thoughtful, gentle end, just kind of coming in for a landing through 2025. And then you tell me what you are up for. In my mind, I'm gearing up the intensity to really hit some intentional intensity in the beginning of January. That's what I'm feeling right now. Float out a quote of the day over our beautiful winter reflection space. I was thinking over the weekend, I wanted to try to get back to this place. It was tremendously cold here in Madison. It was 9 below, I think, Saturday morning, and then a lot lower with the wind chill. And I thought about heading down and seeing, did this little natural spring, did it freeze over? But I couldn't get myself to do it. Did you make it out this weekend? Did you get some exercise and some fresh air? Hard to do when it's really cold. But a wise person at the bike shop once told me, there's no bad weather, only bad gear. Yeah, 17, plenty cold enough, huh? Get some good gear. You know, the big risk, okay, you get all the winter stuff, you bundle up, you say, I can stay warm, and then, of course, the risk that comes in, you don't want to slip and fall on the ice. You know, they even make little grippers for the shoes, little yak tracks. You want to get out and walking, never want anybody slip and fall, okay? Be careful, but so good. You got a treadmill inside, of course, that's second best, and staying active in whatever way you can in the winter, so good, but I still try to get outside and see the actual sun. That's so good for keeping the good energy flowing. Check out this quote. Let your dreams be bigger than your fears, and your actions louder than your words. Love this quote. Now, when I was looking, I put various under there to attribute it. I had heard this quote somewhere, so I was looking for it. And there's like 20 different people that are claiming the same quote, and so I didn't know who to attribute. Like it's attributed to Ralph Waldo Emerson, and it's attributed to like 20 other people that I don't know. So you look it up and see. Many people have some subtle, at least, variation of this, but this is feeling so good to me as a concept to lean into. Let your dreams be bigger than your fears. As we are looking for a breakthrough, this is what I want for everybody as we head into 25. I was playing around with different versions of that word. A breakthrough, a breakout, just something that is like we've got barriers, we've got obstacles, we've got history that we've had, we've got issues, both health and personal and other things that we have struggled with. And I say, let us open our mind. That's the big dreams. Let's envision the future where we have overcome, made it through, gotten past or over, or integrated these experiences into our lives in a way that we are using them as stepping stones and build up an extremely positive vision for 2026. And then I love the connection in these two lines. We got the dreams that are big. We're overcoming our fears. Fear is the obstacle. Fear of change, fear of things being different, fear of the unknown and uncertainty. The dream is helping us grow beyond that. But then it's not just a thought, it's the action. Those got to be tied. If we just have dreams but we don't take action, say nothing happens. We can't just sit in a space and wait for something to happen. Although as I'm just saying that, then I think, well, this is the interesting thing. A fasting space can be just sitting there. This is the thing. A fasting is a nothing, but fasting is a thing. A fasting is a rest, but a fasting is an action. This is so interesting, isn't it? The space of it. Fasting is not a physical work. You don't have to physically do anything, but it is a mental work. It is an emotional work. This is why fasting is so deep and underappreciated in our society, because it's taking us to this very fascinating place, an action that is nothing, an inaction that is an inaction. Even hard to say. An inaction that is action. Powerful, taking us forward. So I was saying we can't just have a dream and sit in a space. We need action. Well, if that action is the inaction that moves us forward, like how incredible is that? How powerful is that? How exciting is that to think, oh, I take this action where I can just open up this space. I don't actually have to do anything. Say, let fasting do the work. I don't have to be going to the store to purchase all these highly specialized products. I don't have to buy 20 more supplements from all these people, spend all this money. And just take a deep breath. I can sit in a space. My dream, this is what I'm saying, the dream is that I can find a flow in my health practice that is not a struggle. This is the potential. Where you say 2026 is the year that I actually just got into a flow with things. Maybe you're in that space now. We've been with it. You say, hey, I'm feeling the flow. Like we're picking it up and you can feel it. And say 25, we're ending this out. And then we're going to really picture like it's stream, like we've been in a gentle stream, like you just get into it. We're starting to head in a positive direction. You see that? This is the end of our 2025 as we're trying to have our memories of it. Whatever happened, and then the end of it, you say was pretty good. I dialed in on a health space. It's helping me balance out. Fasting and eating, I see the balance. They're the same thing. It's the health practice of our relationship with food. You start flowing to that. And maybe that current picks up a little bit in 26. That's the way I like things to move for people. People come in for a weight consult. Happy anybody in Wisconsin I'm consulting personally with right now. People come in that say they really want to hit things very hard, which is not bad. I'm totally for it. But then I always bring the balance because you really want to ease into stuff. Never want to burn out with anything. You want to slowly, sustainably build things up. The actions that we're taking, like this quote is saying, we want them to build over time, louder and louder. Like we don't just start coming in shouting unless it really is the time for it. I never tell anybody. I don't want to discourage anyone from any ambition, right? Really hit something. If you've got lightning in a bottle, you capture it and you run with it, right? But also let's really make sure that we are in alignment, moving in a beautiful direction that is sustainable. That's what I want the most for everybody, a sustainable health practice. I've been working on a fasting practice personally over a decade. It's been such a blessing to my life. Many people that I've worked with over 10 years now, rolling in on a fasting practice thoughtfully and gently. That is what I want for people. So it can be a long-term process. So you don't have to be always seeking the next thing. Hey, we got really powerful tools, very deep. That's what I'm showing you. Fasting, a very deep practice, not a superficial practice. Can be, okay, just like any deep ocean has a surface, right? There is a surface to things. There's a surface to fasting where you can dip your toe in the water. Maybe not this one that's 7 degrees or when it's 7 degrees out. But you dip your toe in the water. You see what I'm saying? But then you don't have to go anywhere else. Say, this is a practice that we can really sink into. I like that. Thinking, okay, it has a surface, but it's deep. You sink in like getting in the water. I love these metaphors. I've talked about we don't have to even start. We learn about fasting right away, but we say, oh, that seems intimidating. You can just walk along the river, no problem. Then you can dip your toe in the water, getting used to it, and you see, water's fine. Walking in. Maybe this is 26 for you. Maybe you've been just dipping your toe in the water, learning about it. Maybe 26 is the year. Say, hey, I wanna really jump in. I wanna really sink in and explore some of the depths of this practice. Take the next step in if it feels good. Yeah, you see someone crashing though, okay? You see someone hitting it. Hey, just tell them, take a deep breath. Take the pressure off. Pressure really does not help under most circumstances. This is giving me a reflection, about the experience of working, myself as a doctor, interacting with patients, trying to lose weight. I think talking with so many people, interacting with medical providers. We have the perspective in medicine that our current understanding really has everything figured out about losing weight. This is how I was trained in medicine. I had went to a great medical school, and really thoughtful people who say, well, we teach people how to lose weight. This is calories. You tell people count the calories, portion control, which has its place. All these things have a place. I just put a video on the channel, holiday portion control mindset. It's a very good thing. But the lived experience of most people is if you create an Excel sheet and you target 1,500 calories and you do the dietary practice that most people have, which is little bits of food all the time, keep snacks going all the way throughout the day, calorie restriction without fasting. Most people experience this. They lose some weight initially, they plateau, then they regain the weight, and by a year later, they weigh more than when they started. It's an extremely frustrating process. I've seen that many, many hundreds of times. Because we have not appreciated the physiology of fasting. Most doctors not dialed in on a fasting space. The deeply profound nature of it, both emotionally and physiologically in the body. Because what's happening hormonally in the body is we're clearing out the insulin. Doctors know. Okay, let's talk about it. I want to have big talks with more doctors. Everybody knows that insulin inhibits lipolysis, meaning that's the physiologic process of blocking access to body fat. But we're giving people advice that keeps insulin high all the time. Do you see it? We don't want to do that. Sometimes people, I've been giving big talks on fasting. A doctor says, a fasting space only works because you help people eat less calories. And so why make people go through fasting when they can just reduce the calories? Now, it's true. If you're fasting, you get less calories, and it's true. Calories important. But hormones control how calories are processed, and when we put all our calories into an environment where the hormones of the body are saying, you can't access the body fat here, sorry, plenty of food around, just run off the food, but then we say, okay, there's food, but not quite enough. We haven't realized how dynamic the body is. Body can slow our metabolism down to match our food intake. This is why you go on a diet. Initially, it's working because we're calorie restricted, but the body is going through this conflicted space, saying hormones not liking this, and this is why we adjust to it. And then it's not really a nice spot to be in to be dieting because we can never eat a meal that is satisfying. So people sometimes, they call cheating. I hate that word. Then the calories go back up. Then our metabolism is slowed with higher calories. People gain weight again. What a frustrating situation. Fasting giving us a path out of it. Do we get less calories? Yes, we do. Helps us to lose weight. But when there's open food-free space, then our insulin drops. Then in those calorie-free spaces, no insulin blocking the lipolysis, body fat able to be mobilized is a different hormonal experience for the body. No drive to negatively adapt the system. Brings everything into alignment. Then we can have meals that we enjoy. This is how it be sustainable. Body's meant to have meals satisfying and positive. So I think most healthcare providers have not thought through this whole cycle, have not really dove into the details. And this is what Queen of Heaven is saying. Most doctors not going to dive into this, not because they don't care, but just because say we really got to do some thinking and understanding to get into this space. And because we don't have that perspective and understanding, this is how we run the guilt trip on people. And we just tell people, you're not working hard enough. We hit people. You've got to exercise harder. You've got to restrict harder on the diet. We guilt trip people saying, you're cheating on the plan. You're doing this thing. We bring all these intense words of guilt onto people. That instead of helping people to find an open space of peace and contentment, to bring down the stress, to realize I have everything that I need in this space. Nothing is broken here. Just take a deep breath, fasting like a big deep breath, to tell the body, hey, we are going to be okay. We run everything in the opposite direction. And we amp up the stress and pressure on people by guilt tripping people. This is a big message more than anything that I want to communicate to people. Say, hey, we can just take a big deep breath. We can unwind the stress and pressure of this whole situation and realize there are pathways forward in health where we can flow through a space without any guilt tripping of ourselves, without any judgment, only positive energy moving forward, building the experience and the perspective of training the body how to lose weight and building our skill with it. This is what a fasting practice is. Melissa's with us. Thanks for popping in. So nice to have you here. Have not eaten since dinner at 6 and trying to fast until noon. Hey, if this is one of the first times that you are trying something like that, congratulations. You're trying something, unique and interesting. I'll tell you, as much as anything, it's a human experience. Like, take apart any goal of, say, I want this much weight loss by this time, and just take a space like that as a curiosity, as an exploration of openness, of realizing I'm a human being on this planet. I have been here for a long period of time. I've always had this view that I am dependent, so dependent on constant intake of food. And is it the case that I'm not so much, that actually there's a strength here that I have not appreciated in myself? I just want it to be a very empowering space to realize, hey, like, I am strong. I am capable. There is energy here, and I'm not so dependent on this constant intake as I've been told. So that can be very empowering. That's one side of it. And then give yourself tons of grace in that space to realize, you don't run a marathon, on your first thing. So we can always step it up. A fasting space should feel like positive energy just flowing through the body. And there is a line where you say the big obstacle would be hunger. I get to a space, you say, I feel hungry. Intentional intensity is a word I really like. You can bring intensity to a space. It's okay to have an experience. You have a hunger experience. I sometimes describe it as like, oh, I'm on a roller coaster. You make it through. That experience tends to have a peak experience that is 10 to 15 minutes where you say, I'm going to take a walk, find a distraction, dial in on the work, and you'll find it passes, because that actual hunger experience is controlled by a hormone in the body called ghrelin. And that ghrelin is what is trying to get the stomach going. Body's telling us, hey, we think we're going to be eating now. We're letting you know. We're getting the stomach acids ready. We're getting everything ready. But we're ultimately in charge of it. And if we say, you know what, I'm in charge here, and I think it's more valuable for us right now to open up a fasting space. Use some of that excess energy that we have is waiting. The body will get the message. Be like, oh, we can do that. We can do it. We'll put this other stuff. If you are doing monitoring in the blood test, you see the ghrelin level go back down. People's subjective, experience of hunger, or track that, go back down, and you'll find out that you'll be okay. So that's one side of it. And the other side is you never have to push yourself into any space that feels overwhelming. A hunger space can feel very intense. And if we have not practiced going through it, you say, could it feel overwhelming? It can feel overwhelming. And so giving ourselves tons of grace to say, hey, like, what is this saying where it's like, once you've begun, it's half done or something, like the barrier just to start something and move toward it. That's like a huge hurdle. To say, I opened up a little bit more space. This is kind of where I feel comfortable with today. What I'm saying is you can stop at any point. You don't have to feel, nothing about the process I'm sharing should feel rigid or dogmatic. It should be very open and flexible. Fasting is openness. So you can stop it whenever you want and say, try again tomorrow. An exploration over time, no rush. Yeah, sometimes some people told me who said try fasting, says you're going to take in fewer calories. Yeah. Seems to be missing something. Yeah, it is the thing that it's missing. This is true. Lots of things can be true, but not the full picture. Does fasting help you eat less calories? It certainly can. I was reading a paper the other day, which I think maybe I'll share it live. Maybe I just make a video about it. One of the most interesting fasting studies, there's this line between fasting or intermittent fasting, people say, or time-restricted eating. You say, and a lot of times these ideas are used interchangeably, or words used interchangeably. But the difference to me, time-restricted eating would be specifically having an eating window, but not saying anything about what is happening in that eating window. And so there's a study I found that was called an intermittent fasting study, but really it was a time-restricted eating study because they specifically had people eat the same amount of calories that they ate during their normal eating, but cram it all in an eating window. So they ate 3 meals in their 8 hours, just like they normally would, between a control group. And then the study was only a few weeks long. And then they didn't notice a significant difference in weight just over a short study between people eating in the window versus not in the window. Yeah, I would like to present this. What I just want to share about this, okay, so then people use that study to say, well, look, the calories were the same and people's experience was the same. The big take-homes, we'll just stick to concepts here. Fasting is about an open space where there used to be something, right? We're going to have some eating, and now we are voluntarily choosing not to have that eating. To take that and cram it back into an experience where we're eating more in a space than we normally would, see, that is not fasting to me by a definition. That's like shifting food around, but it's not really in the spirit of it. There is a very thoughtfully designed study that looked at this in people with type 2 diabetes over a longer period of time. The time-restricted eating component of it, the thing that is changing apart from the calories, is that hormonal space. That can have an effect. The time restriction, you just need more than a few weeks to see it. If you try to shift a meal in a time restriction, these people weren't eating healthy foods. They were eating, pizzas and takeout and all kinds of stuff. They didn't have people change healthy eating in any way. Just the time restricted effect There was a trend toward benefit in the study, even over a few weeks, but it wasn't statistically significant. Nobody studying something like that I've ever found, in a longer period of time, like 6 months to a year. It's very likely that you would reach statistical significance with that practice over a longer period of time. But the effect is nowhere near as pronounced as giving yourself that hormonal space and putting the eating in a much more thoughtful perspective. To say, okay, in a normal day, I'm eating a breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner. And so there's food coming through all this period of time. Say even within that space, it's all healthy food. But there's still 2,000 calories of it spread out over the whole day. Body fat is energy, it's calories. Calories are a measure of energy. So we do want to create a calorie deficit. We want to open up a space hormonally where the body has access to it. If we jam all that energy into that space, that's taking away the calorie deficit part of it, only giving us this hormonal side of it. And so what we really want to do is we want both of these things. We want the hormonal changes that the time restriction part of it can offer, very important. And you want to have the calorie restriction that is going to let the body replace that energy from the energy that is inside us. Both of those things are important. So when people say, okay, the calories are what is so important in weight loss, like, yes, calories are important, but it's not the only thing. Like you're saying, there's the missing part of it. When you put the calorie deficit combined with the hormonal effect from a fasting space, it's a synergistic effect, meaning it's more than the sum of each things, in and of themselves. The time restriction part of it, without any calorie deficit, not really fasting, you get some effect with that, but small. And to calorie restrict without a fasting space, you can have some success with that, especially in the short term. Harder to have success with that in the long term, and in fact, very few people do. It's when you put both of those things together, what I would call a true fasting practice. When you bring those things into alignment, you're creating a calorie deficit in a much more thoughtful way where you can still have meals when you're eating, so you're not feeling restricted and deprived, but then you're having a powerful calorie-free space that then aligns with the hormonal space where the body says you can access the energy here without negatively adapting the system. That is when people really start flowing through a space in a much more effective and thoughtful way. And so this is what I want to help us lean into, especially as we go into 2026. So here, we're going to float through the holidays. We're going to build up momentum. We get all of our thinking in alignment. We're trying to make it at least through December. If we can lose weight in the next couple weeks, be incredible. That would be like 99th percentile, just crushing it. But like we say, good enough. If we get to December, say we made it through the holidays, we didn't gain weight, that would be like a tremendous win. And then we are gearing up for a huge breakthrough in 26, because as we are flowing through this space, can you feel the energy building? You say, oh, I'm understanding what is happening. And then there's going to be the open space in 26, and we are going to power forward with it. This space that we're in right now, December, this is the most difficult time of the year if you're moving on a weight loss path. So I love the quote, Wendell Berry, preservation is progress. We're just going to navigate through this space, flow through it in the most graceful way we can. But January, this is the thing. People dialing in after New Year's, right? And then the spring is going to be coming. It's going to get warmer. Everything gets better. So as we head through January, the holiday's done, party's over. We're going to move forward in a way that is just building the energy every day. Let me answer this one. Is the hormonal space the additional 6 hours? Yeah. So I like this analogy of this light switch. I've got it on an article, simplefasting.com. 3-step weight loss plan, a switch. Every time we are eating, We're flipping a metabolic switch in the body, and that is a hormonal switch. But to just make things simple to understand, we can just think of it like a machine, like a light switch. We say, oh, we turn the lights on. But then to flip the system on is when we eat, it's literally almost instantaneous. We are out of a fasting space because almost the millisecond you taste something. When we taste a thing, that is sending hormonal signals to the body about what is happening in the energy space in the body. Like we think taste, oh, taste is just nice. It's just something we do. Okay, but you taste something sweet, for example, nerve signals are heading into the pancreas to tell the body, hey, sugar's coming. Body makes insulin on demand. So as we're tasting something sweet, then, okay, we're going to be chewing that up. We're going to be swallowing it. It's in the stomach. But stomach starts working. And then it's moving into the first part of the small bowel. That's when it's actually absorbed. Takes about 20 minutes. So by the time we've tasted it, nerve signals go into the pancreas. It's making the insulin. So by the time everything flows into that space, then the insulin is there. Do you see how beautiful and synchronized this whole system is? Just an incredible integrated system. And so you eat something, the switch is flipped. The body knows food is here, energy is here. We're out of a fasting space. Every cell in the body, these things, when hormones are released, they're flowing through the bloodstream. It's everywhere within seconds. So every cell in the body knowing, like, hey, we have got food coming in here. We are taking out of a fasting space now. The body's like, okay, we're getting ready for it. There's two different operating systems. We got an operating system. How does the body work in the food space? And then how does the body work in the fasting space? It's how we keep all these different processes organized in the body. In the fasting space, we got autophagy, right? Where the body's like, okay, we don't have to run all these food protocols now. Now let's look internally. Let's burn through everything we don't need. The cells in our body have like little garbage piles, basically. The broken down stuff, the stuff we don't need anymore. When the autophagy process kicks on, instead of using more food energy, it'll start working on that stuff. Say, very valuable. Then that switch is flipped. Food came in. We turn this whole system on instantly. Now we're in a fasting space. So it flips instantly in one direction, but it does not flip instantly the other direction. You don't just instantly get into a fasting space. You've got to go through a process to get there. You have to spend the time to get there. So this is the answer to this question that I wanted to bring up. Is the hormonal space the additionally 6 hours? It is. On average, it takes 12 hours to flip this switch back the other way. So you say flip it on instantly, but then it's a process to slowly get back over about 12 hours. And so most people eat at least every 12 hours. And so every time you eat, you instantly flip back and you reset the process to try to get back to the fasting space. So it can be like, we ate breakfast, and then we're going through that space, lunch, going through that space, dinner, and then a snack, and say we had a snack at 9 o'clock. Now we're sleeping. We're going through all this space. Now it's 6 in the morning. Body is thinking, man, another couple hours here, and we might really have to start turning on, the fasting systems. But then we eat breakfast and we flip back. See what I'm saying? And so now we do things differently. Now we ate dinner at 6 o'clock, and then we didn't eat, and then we went to bed at 9, and then we slept all night, and now it's 6 in the morning, and now it's been 12 hours. Now we are in the beginning, just the very start of a fasting space. We call breakfast breaking the fast. We've been fasting for 6 hours or 12 hours overnight. Now we're going to break that, flip back. But then we say, no, this is the fascinating physiology that we need to start leaning into. This is the very interesting point. Instead of eating that next meal and flipping our switch back, we say, oh, now we have done an incredible amount of work and we didn't even have to do anything because we were asleep most of the time. And look, the body has processed through all that food. It's extracted all the energy, sterilized it, brought it in, and organized it into the body. What if we just sat in this space for a while Now we fully turn that system off. Around 12 hours. And it, if you really want to nitpick on it, it depends a little bit on the macro composition, the carbs versus the fat and the protein. A lot of simple carbs going to be processed faster. Okay, but on average, it's going to be about 12 hours. So then you get that extra 6 hours, like you're saying. Now the hormones are different. Remember, the switch isn't real. There isn't a real physical switch. The switch is a metaphor of the hormonal state of the body. We're letting the insulin level drop and clear out so that it stops blocking access to the body fat. Now we're sitting there in a morning space. Insulin level has dropped. There are counter-regulatory hormones with crazy names like adiponectin and stuff that you don't have to know. No test, okay? But the body, what those hormones do is instead of blocking, like say, here's our fat cell, where that energy is, and then insulin is like a shield, it's like capping it. That's how it blocks access to it. But then when we flip the switch over and the insulin goes away, is how we're solving our insulin resistance problem. So now it's available. Now what we don't see, counter-regulatory hormone adiponectin comes out, and it goes is like it's attacking the cell. It's has access to it, and then it's getting the energy out, and it will release the energy into the bloodstream to power us. In large measure, that's ketones. We run off ketones, amongst other things, and body has many ways of using energy, including through the liver. It can put out more sugar. It can do all kinds of stuff, but it can break down the fat energy, release it, and then we can run off that. That is how the system is supposed to work. The body was trying to do us a favor. We say, oh, we didn't really like it. We wish it hadn't have done it. We wish that we didn't store the energy in the first place, but now it's there. We say we can't do anything else about it. How does the body want to get rid of it? We have a lot of ideas about how we say weight loss is supposed to work, but the body also has just ways that it does it. And when we really think deeply about it, we realize the body is saving food for us so that we don't die in periods without food. That's the thing. Body has huge contingency plans, and we don't think there because we are in this Gilded Age where we're hopefully still, even in this age, I've done videos on the channel about even here, like in Madison, capital city, immense wealth here. We got like over 20% of families food insecure right in Dane County here. So even in the middle of this, it's not like we have solved hunger, fasting in a large way, helping us to connect with this deep experience, both historically of people, of the struggle for survival, and help us really understand what this bio machine is that we are operating here, and the protocols are set up to keep us alive as long as possible. This is why there's 8 billion people. Okay, and then connect also in this present moment, help us increase our compassion for people who are in a really difficult spot, even in our own communities right here. So yes, we open up that extra 6 hours. That is getting us to that's level 1. What I say, the first 6 hours, going from a 12-hour fasting, which many people getting without even thinking about it, out toward, 16 to 18 hours. That's level 1 of fasting. And level 1, the difference between level 0, no fasting, and level 1 is like the difference between night and day. It's so big. Whoa. The difference from having no hormonal space where the body can easily access body fat and then trying to lose weight from that place, that is a struggle. That's what I talk about like this. That's like fighting for weight loss. That's like I'm doing all this work. I'm burning myself out in a gym and I'm making such tiny little process and I don't think I can maintain this any longer. Level 1 of fasting is just saying, I'm just gonna do a little bit of this. Just a little bit of letting go. Takes the pressure off so much. Okay, now all the calories from breakfast are gone, right? Most people, you can fast in the evening. I say it's about 5 out of 100 people would pick to fast through dinner instead of breakfast. It's more difficult, but for some people it's not. So if you're a person who says, I could never miss breakfast, but I don't care so much about dinner, fasting through a dinner, more powerful. Late eating, is like we need the energy less short-term work needing to be done to so we don't need that eating as much. And so we clear out the back end of our day as we're heading into sleep. Can be very helpful for sleeping. More effective for weight loss. There is research and there's so many things to try to balance. Sometimes I thought I could turn this whole channel just into a research channel, and I could just sit here and present papers and go through data, and I've done some of that and go through the archives, and I like that. And I'm gonna hit more stuff like that in January when we're trying to dial in. And then the other side of it, though, I want it to be like this. Just like we don't have to have all this data and stuff. We can just have some pleasant music and chat. So we'd balance. And you let me know in the comments if you want more stuff like that. But there's definitely papers that have looked at called early time restricted eating versus late. And people have a more powerful weight loss effect when their eating window is actually earlier, like eat breakfast, lunch, and then fast through dinner. In research studies, it is more powerful. Now, I will say I only want what is easiest for people. And so the place to start, and what my personal practice is, I just grab a coffee and I fast in the morning, and you have that big open space, and I say that's good enough. Because like you say, for social reasons, the benefits of having fasting in the morning and then eating a lunch dinner is it keeps our eating at socially acceptable, normal times. Nobody even has to know that you're doing it. That's what we say. Like, if there's some sort of social pressure, you have a friend or a partner who is like, I'm not want to do this with you. It's like, they don't even have to know you're doing it because it's totally normal. You can get up, have a coffee, or you just hang out. It's normal, And then you can have that big fasting space open, keep the meals at socially conforming times. I say 95 out of 100 people who want to lean into fasting will do it that way. So you're in good company if you don't want to do that. And just recognize, some people don't feel that way. That's why this whole process, super flexible, nothing rigid or dogmatic about it. You can shape a fasting experience to fit into your life in any way that it feels helpful. That's what we're trying to do. Absolutely. What's empowering is that the fasting periods can happen even when I am maybe eating stuff that is not optimal. Absolutely. No, this is 100% true. There's so many things that, are kind of going on at the same time. And this is what can be really helpful in the holidays. I love this saying, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Perfection is not required. This is what is so one of the very, very beneficial things about a fasting process. It's very strong. It is a very deep and powerful practice. And therefore, it can be approached in a thoughtful, flexible, gentle fashion. And you can conform it into your life just in the way that it is helpful to you. It doesn't have to be anything more than that. And so, like you're saying here, in a holiday, you say, oh, there's foods that are maybe not so perfectly healthy. Okay, it's fine, but maybe they're good. And maybe your aunt made it and you want to eat it so you can share like a joyful thing with them. A standard dieting would tell you don't do it. It would say, oh, you can't do it, or you're being bad. Like, it would bring judgment. I say, look, this is a joyful thing. How many days out of the year are a holiday things? Not that many, okay? And so, like, you want to have a fruitcake that somebody brought, like, you can have it, okay? You can have it. Now you have another tool, a fasting space that you can use to help to balance it out. It's like, this is what we want. Everything come into balance. Bring joy and meaning and connection and value in every way possible. You can balance these things out. Hey, thanks for popping in. Have a great day. We will connect again soon for sure. Use the fasting process to bring everything into balance. Then you're getting a fasting space that'll feel good. I'm in the fasting space here now. This is my personal practice most of the time. I get up, I have a coffee, I get my work done. I don't feel hungry anymore. I used to. When I started out, I always used to eat a big breakfast. I was also, went through a season gaining weight, going through so much struggle where I was like, I'm eating all the time because I'm told that that's kind of what I have to do. And then I'm doing huge exercise and I'm gaining weight at the same time. Very frustrating. Learn about fasting space. Like, hey, can I just have a coffee in the morning? I just work on it. Took a couple weeks, before it started to feel better. I definitely had that experience like I described, hang on the roller coaster a little bit. Helps in the morning, say I'm going to get to work, just get my stuff done, power through it. Then you realize, okay, hunger comes in a wave. It's like I get through it. And then the more you practice getting through it, say the more normal it gets. And then it comes to feel good. Like that's the goal, For me right now, I feel really good. I would not want to eat right now, really. Could do it if I had to, if we were at a social event, so that's the thing. Food, about an emotional experience, connect with people. I could do it. It'd be all right. But I'm like sharing my personal practice with you in this space, which is like, it's like I'm kind of going to work now, I'm doing the programming for you. But this is what I do. Have a coffee, chill out, not eating, and it's been a personal practice that has brought a lot of health to me. So I say, let's all do that together. Everybody who wants to do a fasting space. If you're somebody who say, well, dinner is more my fasting window, hey, you can just come in and hang out with us or watch the replay in the evening. Yeah, so fascinating. You say, I agree. I think it's very fascinating. We've gone through a huge season of time in medicine and society where the only thing that mattered is a calorie. And a calorie is a calorie and that's it. And so it is completely fascinating to open up the thinking, open up the mindset, and realize a calorie isn't just a calorie. A calorie can be different depending on when you eat it. Like that is fascinating. It is truly fascinating. Calorie can be different if it's spread out over a time or if it's eaten in a certain time or if it's eaten late versus early. So that all of a sudden then we can start to see, because we've been led to believe or we've been told like, oh, everything is simple. Weight loss is simple. You just count the calories, you eat the calories. But then everybody's experience is that it is not simple and that these simple pieces of advice are not helpful. They're not working to help people. So I try to just do the calorie thing and say it's not taking me to a better place in the long term. A quote is coming to me like I have to look this up. For every complex situation, there is an answer that is simple, elegant, and wrong. I think we've looked at that before. Okay, that would be the calorie model to me. It is not the complete picture. So not only does the timing of the calories matter, how we put them into meals and spaces, but also what the calories are. I have had arguments, discussions, maybe the nicer way to say it, with people. It doesn't matter what you eat. There are people who believe this, who say, you can eat fast food all day long as you keep the calorie number in the thing. This is what people say. I've had people, I've seen arguments from intelligent, legitimate doctors say you could eat ice cream all day long as you keep the calorie number in line. It'll keep your weight in a spot. This is not a healthy or helpful perspective, as far as I can say. A calorie is not a calorie. A calorie from a piece of steak versus a calorie from an ice cream, is not the same thing. Absolutely not. It's going to have a hormonal impact on the body. And some people, I've seen discussions between doctors who say, well, the way they get around that is to say, you're going to be much more satisfied eating the steak than the ice cream. The ice cream going to give you huge spikes in your insulin, which is going to end up crashing your sugar an hour later. And you're going to have cravings and you're going to end up eating more. And so they try to end around the argument by saying, still the calories, people so connected to this idea, they can't let go of it, that it has to be just the calories, that they're still hanging on. No, you can have the ice cream, and the only way is that it's just making you eat more in the long term. But this is the type of discussion that people have who are not really grounded in the reality of people's experience. Nobody could do that. Nobody could go on an ice cream diet and maintain their weight and keep their eating in a satisfactory way where they are finding an emotional space of peace and contentment and a healthy relationship with food. It's such an academic discussion, the type of thing that doctors will have, and academic researchers who are, they try to design food experiments where they keep people in perfectly controlled, situations for a few weeks, and then they try to draw these conclusions from it. I say we need to just get out of that entire landscape. I think I saw something last year. It was like about how many nutrition studies were done and published. It was like tens of thousands of research studies. I was like, are any of these things, like what percentage are actually really just helping people to see the very, very simple, basic things? What we eat matters. Eating healthy food matters. Eating meals matters. Emotionally, for having satisfaction and sustainability with an eating process and having periods of space without food matters. The only thing that matters, we don't have to settle giant academic discussions. We just need to settle what helps you. What helps you have the breakthrough that turns 2026 into the most incredible health year? And the good news is that we have really, really simple, but also comprehensive things that we can lean into. And the fasting space, to me, is the key that is unlocking the door to the process. It's not the only thing. It may not, even in the big picture, be the most important thing. If, I say, what is the most important thing in health and weight? Probably eating healthy food might be the most important thing. Well, we have to eat healthy food. We need nutrition. But fasting is an essential thing in many regards. And it might be the essential thing that most people are missing. Most people trying to brute force a weight loss process through either diet only, eating only healthy food, is a wonderful thing to do, often also essential, but not the only thing. Or trying to brute force it through exercise. And people like hitting these spaces and say maybe it even works for a while until you reach the rough patch in life where it's like, I'm overwhelmed by a personal situation or a work situation. I can't get to the gym all the time. Or you encounter an exercise or a medical condition, an illness, or you say, I can't sustain this. All of a sudden, look, fasting, a whole nother practice that doesn't require the intensity of the gym, that doesn't have the cost or all the work associated with preparing the most healthy food all the time. We're always looking for the next thing to do. All of a sudden, fasting is a practice, say, hey, we just have to don't do for a while. See the inversion. Fascinating. A way to be kind to yourself. Love that comment. Yes, fasting, this is a big part of the message that I have for everybody. Popular society, culture, say, oh, fasting, very intense. Getting into this mindset like we were in those talks that I love so much about regret and anger. We did that. How do we overcome these deep emotional things? That regret is like a punishment that we keep giving ourselves. And so many times in a food space, because it's so emotional, food ends up becoming both like our reward system our crutch to help us get through an emotional space, and then we take a system, a diet, and we can use it as a punishment. And that's how we get into like, oh, we're restricting ourselves, punishing ourselves. Well, I've got such a complex relationship with food, and this is fasting could be brought into that sort of space. If you're not in a healthy relationship with food, say, could you bring fasting as like a punishment toward yourself? That would be the worst way to use fasting ever. So far away from what I'm saying. Take a deep breath and look at this. Fasting is being kind to yourself. If you are using fasting in a way that is not being kind to yourself, where you're experiencing it as a deprivation or as something like that you deserve something bad, I say, no. Got to stay far away from that. Look at the mindset that we're trying to build. Fasting is openness. Fasting is an opportunity to flip that switch over, like we have been saying. An opportunity to give space and an opportunity for the body to burn through excess, dysfunctional things that it doesn't need. So that we can give space to let health flow forth from the body. It's a very, very kind thing to do. A loving thing to do for the body. That's why I say fasting is openness. It should be a curiosity. It should be an exploration. If you're ever not feeling that way, that's why I say take a break. Try again tomorrow. That's how you be kind to yourself. Always kind to yourself. Moderation. Yeah, I like that. That is the thing. Moderation in all things. Bring it into balance. What other questions? What questions do you have here? I give some open space here. I won't run away. Bring everything into balance through this season as we head into the holidays. Maybe this is the week. I say this week, the opportunity to lean in a little harder this week. Just in the extent that it feels good, but give yourself the opportunity to say, hey, can I sink in here this week? We got a bigger food week with a holiday next week. We're saying, hey, I really sunk into it this week. Can you see yourself having a little more leeway next week? Would it help you to say, man, I really floated through that last week with some intentional intensity, felt good, got plenty of room in this week, connect with food and family, all good. And then the next week say, well, we can lean in a little deeper. That's the way I would do it. All right, that feels like good thoughts for the day. I really appreciate y'all being with me here. Thank you for the great thoughts. Very interesting discussion. Love the concepts that we went through. I hope these are helpful thoughts. I hope you have a great day. Really positive. Let's flow toward better health together. And I will see you back here tomorrow. Be well, everybody.